All right. Just something that I was thinking about today. About natal charts and placements and things like that. Something that we don't necessarily think about when we talk about astrology and the natal charts is the fact that not only are we born with certain placements, but these things occur in real life, but they occur like within people. They occur within situations. They occur within concepts. Like the concepts are not just like things that we talk about in relation to other people, but in relation to like different institutions and different things that we go through in life. It's not limited to just the relationship with people or not even the relationship with ourselves. It's everything. Like the connection that we have or the relationship that we have with government, how we view government, it exists within inside of us, but it also exists outside in the world. And the inner world is the outer world. And since the inner world is the outer world, everything that you see outside of you is a blown up version of what exists inside of you. And how you view it is based on your natal chart, and how you navigate through it can either add to your the energies and the placements that you already have in your natal chart, but it can also cause you to transform those energies and bring those energies to a different level and to make those energies stronger and to again, it goes back to ascension. Like you can ascend your thoughts and your understanding of things to another level, or you can stay in the in the confounds of those placements of your natal chart. But I think to go to another level, if you're on a path of death and rebirth, you throughout life you gain more information to go to the next lifetime with a greater understanding of this life, but a greater understanding of life period. And your views are supposed to and meant to grow and to take you to another level. So it's not just like about just this lifetime. It's not just about like the small aspects, but if even if you are looking at like the little aspects, like if you haven't like evolved to the point, or you haven't come to an understanding that is greater than just like your relationship with yourself or your relationship with people. Like even if you just are stuck in like your sun sign, your sun sign, even if you are just stuck in that level of understanding, and that's how you go about the world, like with the limited understanding of astrology, where you think that it's only about where your sun sign is, even if you're on that level, you have to grow. I kind of lost my train of thought because I wanted to say something more, but even if you are on that level and you like venture out and you gain more understanding of like astrology, and you understand like it's about like the relationship with everything that was in the sky when you were born, and it's about the relationship with even things that are in your present, like the relationship with things that are in the sky mean things to you on a day-to-day basis. Like everything or everything in the sky appeals to everything that goes on within your daily life on a daily basis. But the line becomes somewhat, I don't know if it's best to say blurred or defined, when you gain a greater understanding. Like when you start to see like it's like zooming out. Like when you start to see like it's not about being focused on just your sun sign and then you start to see like there's other things that matter, like if you were to have the understanding that your sun sign is this, and then you're dating this particular person, and they have this sun sign. Like if you have that understanding of it, and then you start to gain more understanding that it's even about like how your parents have these specific signs, and then you start to build up your universe. And the more you build up your universe, and the more you build up your understanding of your universe, then the more that you can experience yourself, and the more that you will learn. And it just makes so much more sense, and it just adds to everything that I've been talking about on this channel, that we are a universe, and it all starts with the black dot. It all starts with the black dot, and everything inside of you represents the universe that you see outside of yourself. And it's so funny that we have scientists that study like the outer world, like they're zoomed out, when they could probably gain as much information as if they were zoomed in. Like, and some scientists, they do study like they do study the very minute and small things, and they gain an understanding of life through that way. But everything is connected, and it's very interesting if you seek to learn these things. And I kind of went off on a tangent because it got me excited, because it made more sense that we're building our universe as we converse with people, as we talk to people, as we gain understanding of our relationships with people and with things and with concepts. And these relationships build and make up the outer world. It's not limited to or it shouldn't just be understood as these things acting on us, but it should be us. It should be understood as us acting on these things, and how we take action on these things, and how these things correspond to our relationships with these things, and relationships with ourselves, and how we view the world and things like that. But our view of the world, which ties into your vision, which is here, how we view the world is made up of the things that are inside of us, and the things that were present when we were born. And the things that were present when we were born were the energies that were focused down into the earth around the time that we were being born, and around the time that we were being conceived. And I don't know, through the process of birth, like since it's a 9-month process, we were basically being exposed to these energies through the breathing of our mothers. And the breathing of our mothers is what allowed us to be who we are, because she was gathering energy, and the energy that she gathered was processed through her body, and through our connection with our mother, we got the information that she was processing, and it became our food. It became our understanding. It became our makeup. It became the way that we look at the world, or the way the world looks at us. It's so funny that I even said makeup, because that's literally what it is. And it adds to the idea that we're actors, because we're made up in our mother's womb, and we also are in society making up this version of ourselves, or the idea of ourselves, basically the idea that we're actors, and we're not necessarily meant to be a specific role, so much as we're meant to express a specific role, if that makes sense. Like it's a difference in thinking. Like again, the world acting on us opposed to us acting on the world. We have to acknowledge that we are in the world, but we're not necessarily made up of the world, if that makes sense. Like if we're not necessarily, we can't be taught in schools. That's the best way of saying it. We can't be taught who we are through school, like through a man-made school. We have to be taught who we are and what we are through what is already made up inside of us. The school is us. Like, we are teachers of ourselves, and the people that we interact with, they help guide, excuse me, and they can teach you things, but they are not necessarily, they're not necessarily your teachers, but they can't. Let me say this: certain people can be like your guide, and certain people can be your teacher, but they're not necessarily your teacher because that's their job to be your teacher. It's like they take on the role of being a teacher. Just like I was saying, like, you are made up in this world, and your role is already defined, but you think that you are this specific role because of the world telling you that you have to be this specific role, opposed to you being this specific role because that's who you are. Like, who you are as a person will be who you are regardless of whatever profession that you choose to be on this earth. And a lot of times we have people who try to take on these professions that don't necessarily agree with them. And then if you want, but to add to that, you can discover parts of yourself and explore parts of yourself through doing different professions and living different professions. But it may just be a part of your journey, but your overall who you are, your overall being, may be even greater than that, and your role may be greater than that, and it takes you like discovering and going through things to figure out that this is your role, and it's not what you may have thought it was for so long. Regardless of how long it takes you to discover what your role is, regardless of that, you have to be who you are regardless, and that's something that you have to come to accept, and that's something that most people do come to accept. And some people don't. I mean, it is what it is. You discover it through time. And as you know, my definition of time is limited to what most people's definitions of time is. But that's neither here nor there. But everybody gains their understanding on their own time. And by their own time, I mean literally that, their own time. But since my battery is kind of low, I'm going to end this here. I love you. Peace, love, and light, and wholeness.